Did you ever spend time with Epstein and Donald Trump?
I want to answer this question accurately. I would go to some of the Victoria's Secret fashion shows because they're very important to the brand. At some of the fashion shows, Jeffrey was there and some Trump was there.
Has Donald Trump ever discussed Jeffrey Epstein with you?
Nope.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever discuss Donald Trump with you?
I would describe it, he would name drop it. So he would say things like, I know President Clinton, or I know the Pope, or I know God, or I know you. It was that kind of name dropping, but never, I can't remember a specific place, but Jeffrey dropped a lot of names.
Ever visit his island in U.S. Virgin Islands?
Yes.
Can you tell us about those visits?
Yes. Jeffrey invited us to see it, and we were on a boat, and we went to the island with our kids. So Abigail, myself, but I can't remember how many kids we had, 2, 3, or 4, but at least 2, walked around for a while and left. Probably an hour visit.
You would fly just to go visit for 1 hour?
Yeah, I would fly to Europe for 1 hour on business trips. As crazy it is, getting on the plane and going places for me was like going to the mailbox.
I'd like to ask you about Epstein's properties and your visits to them. Of course, Epstein's New York and New Albany houses were originally yours, as we discussed earlier, and you also had a house in Palm Beach, is that correct?
Objection. I think he testified that the house in New Albany was Mr. Kessler's.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to clarify.
No, thank you. And the house in Palm Beach, was there a house that you had in Palm Beach, sir?
I did have a house in Palm Beach
Okay. Did you ever visit Epstein's home in Palm Beach?
once.
Can you tell us about that visit?
He bought a house in Palm Beach, and he wanted me to see it. I think he wanted me and Abigail to see it. And we flew down on like a Sunday morning with friends of ours from Columbus. Looked at the house, congratulations, got back on the plane and came home. And it was a pretty modest house. Nothing special.
So one trip, in that trip, did you ever witness Donald Trump at the house?
No.
Do you recall any other prominent figures at the Palm Beach house?
No, it was just Jeffrey and my friends,
Who were the other friends?
Judy and Steve Tuckerman, Dr. Stephen Tuckerman and his wife Judith.
I'm sure they'll be delighted about that.
No, they won't be.
Did
in
you,
heaven.
did you ever visit his island in the U.S. Virgin Islands?
Yes.
Can you tell us about those visits?
Yes. Jeffrey invited us to see it, and we were on a boat, and we went to the island with our kids. So Abigail, myself, but I can't remember how many kids we had, 2, 3, or 4, but at least 2, walked around for a while and left. Probably an hour visit.
Okay, an hour. So on that trip, do you recall seeing any prominent figures on the island?
No, and it was a pretty crummy island.
Okay. Did you ever visit his ranch in New Mexico or his house in Paris?
Do you want to break those up for clarity?
Did you ever visit his ranch in New Mexico?
It was the same kind of thing. He wanted Abigail and I to see his ranch. We flew down there and drove around for an hour or 2, got back on the plane and came home. And I don't think he had a house.
So you would fly just to go visit for 1 hour?
Yeah, I would fly to Europe for 1 hour on business trips. As crazy it is, getting on the plane and going places for me was like going to the mailbox. And he didn't have a house on the ranch, and I never knew he had a house in Paris.
And in the ranch in New Mexico that you spent an hour at, were there any prominent figures or anyone that you recall? else being there?
No, as I recall, it was just Abigail, myself, and I think he'd rented a trailer, so it wasn't a house. And that's all I know.
Okay, and so to clarify, you didn't know he had a house in Paris, so you did not ever go to the house in Paris?
I didn't know he had a house in Paris, and therefore I didn't go to that house in Paris.
Okay.
Didn't.
During any of your visits to any of these properties, did you ever see any girls or women that looked unusually young?
No,
Did you ever hear rumors of any girls or women who looked unusually young visiting Epstein's properties or islands?
no, never did.
During any
Perfect.
visits to Epstein's property, did you ever see photographs or other images of women or minors?
Not that I recall.
Did you ever become aware of Epstein transporting women or minors using assets that you owned, whether that's a plane that you owned or a yacht that you owned?
Absolutely not, no.
And did you ever hear of any rumors related to Epstein's personal life or his sexual activities?
No,
Rumors that you may have heard in the grapevine.
that's kind of ambiguous. I mean, like, I'll answer you in this. I think you're asking an ambiguous question. I would go to visit David Gergen at Harvard because I was very interested in the center of public leadership. And David would say, Jeffrey was up here, your friend Jeffrey was up here, and he was visiting Henry Rosofsky, who was the dean of Harvard College, or he was visiting Larry Summers, and he always has an admin with him, or, you know, a girl. And he says, a woman, maybe more accurate. He said, he never travels by himself.
And I think that's what I'm referring to. I mean, I don't think I get through a day without hearing a rumor about somebody. So I imagine somebody that you were close to, you probably heard.
No, but it wasn't, it was more like he was traveling with his admin or his secretaries or his lady lawyer or his lady accountant. That's what I would hear. But it wasn't, I never heard rumors about Jeffrey was traveling around with a girlfriend for this, or a girl. It was like, it was part of his, I don't know, social visits or something. It was always, if I heard, it was in reference to work, his work.
Okay, thank you.
I actually want to start in a little bit of a different place really quickly. Dr. Mark Landon, are you familiar with him?
Who?
Dr. Mark Landon?
Yes.
Okay. He was paid by Epstein on your behalf to consult on biomedical investments, is that correct?
I just heard about that. I didn't know that until maybe, I don't know, the last few days.
Okay, so with you knowing Dr. Mark Landon, are you aware as to whether or not Dr. Landon ever was paid to render medical services to any of the alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
What is your relationship with Dr. Landon?
Abigail had a complicated pregnancy, and their general obstetrician, I believe, referred her to Mark Landon. He is an obstetrician. And that's how I met him, and he delivered our children.
Okay.
And so my relationship with him is my wife's doctor.
Did you ever introduce him to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
Okay. All right. Did you ever spend time with Epstein and Donald Trump?
Together?
Yes.
I want to answer this question accurately. I would go to some of the Victoria's Secret fashion shows because they're very important to the brand. At some of the fashion shows, Jeffrey was there and some Trump was there. And I remember because Trump would always introduce himself to me. And I always thought it was kind of odd that he was at the fashion show because he had nothing to do with fashion. So the coincidence of them being together at an event, could have been that, but I have no specific recollection. I never had a social or like a drink or a cup of coffee, something, that would put them together.
Okay, so just to clarify, because I want to make sure we're clear on the record, you're saying that you can recall instances potentially where Epstein and Trump were together and you were in their presence, or just a random scenario where Epstein may be there, Trump may be there separately, and then you would be there?
It would be at random. That would be accurate. If it happened, but I have no specific recollection.
Okay. Did you ever see or become aware of President Trump having a sexual relationship with a person who was introduced to him by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Has Donald Trump ever discussed Jeffrey Epstein with you?
No.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever discuss Donald Trump with you?
I would describe it, he would name drop it. So he would say things like, I know President Clinton, or I know the Pope, or I know God, or, or I know you. It was that kind of name dropping, but never, I can't remember a specific place, but Jeffrey dropped a lot of names.
Okay. So to clarify, you believe he's specifically dropped Donald Trump's name?
No, I'm saying it could have, and I don't remember.
Okay. Did Epstein ever share any information with you about Donald Trump's sexual activities?
No.
Do you have a relationship with Donald Trump?
No.
But you've met him before.
He introduced himself to me at the fashion show a couple of times, but I wouldn't say, hello, how are you? Like you say, met, like we knew each other. We don't know each other. He wouldn't. I'd be shocked if he remembered me.
Okay. And I know that you specifically mentioned the island, that you have been to Jeffrey's Island. Do you recall seeing any of those persons that Jeffrey Epstein would name drop while you were on his island?
No, nobody was there but Abigail, myself, Jeffrey, maybe somebody cutting grass or something. There was a maintenance person, I think, but I don't specifically recall. I know for sure I was there, Abigail was there, Jeffrey was there.
And there wasn't anything abnormal about the appearance of the home on the island, and the reason that I asked, just to give you clarification on what I mean by abnormal, we've heard reports of people being thrown off when they walked into his home in New York because there was a massage table that was just sitting randomly in the middle of a room. Did you see anything like that when you visited any property that belonged to Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, first to clarify, when we visited the island, there was like a Pueblo building, like maybe a one room and a bathroom or something. It was pretty crummy. And the island was crummy. There were no trees, there was no sand, there was no beach. It was just, it's a kind of a peculiar thing. It was an island, but it was like a pile of rocks. It was just, I was kind of shocked that that anybody would buy it for any purpose. As far as seeing things, I never was in the house. I never at his house in New York. The house in Florida, we were there after he bought it because I mentioned with the couple, so I never saw a massage table or anything.
Well.